Good morning, everybody and anybody. I got to ride a Triumph Tiger the other day, and I'll put the footage on in just a second. I didn't get a chance to really talk about how I felt about the bike. And so I'm going to put the footage on and just kind of show you the first little bits of riding it. And then afterwards, I'll talk a little bit about it. Cool. Well, don't get too attached. Whew. Cool. Ooh, that's nice. Oh, smooth shifting, man. So a friend of mine just picked up this brand new Triumph Tiger yesterday, and he's letting me ride it. What a guy. This is pretty much the only bike that I would be looking into getting if I ever had to stray from the v-strom. It's got a gear indicator, digital speedometer, it's got pretty good wind protection. Oh yeah. He's got hard cases on the side. This thing is just set up for touring. He usually rides a Harley, and he loves it to death. But he's really liking this one too. Oh yeah. It's definitely got some punch to it. Yeah, you wouldn't need to be doing much downshifting on that. Yeah, this bike, like mine, they kind of have a Jeep feel. And what I mean by that, it's like you can bolt stuff onto these things and it just looks cool. It just has to be practical. Some bikes, there's just things you put on them and they start to just kind of lose the overall feel of what they actually are. But that's kind of where these types of bikes really shine, is that if you've got something you can add for a little bit of comfort, you bolt it on there and it looks good. You got something that, you know, for like GPS or whatever, you bolt it on there. Extra lights, you bolt it on there. Just accessories all over the place. It's very comfortable. The seat's very comfortable. I could ride this for a long time. Man, it's got some, I can tell it's got some power. I can't really open it up because there's cars in front of me, but it's definitely got some torque. I don't remember how much this weighs, but it feels pretty maneuverable. It's interesting the different inputs that you get to put into a bike, and they'll do kind of, you know, some of them are really responsive to certain inputs. Others, it's the same input, it's just not usually as responsive, or maybe even a little more responsive. Heated seats! Look at that, right there! Heated seats! What kind of bike has heated seats? Usually I'm not riding around and going, you know what's cold on me? My butt. My hands are fine, my feet are fine, my chest is fine, my head is fine, but you know what's cold? My butt. Whoa, I got up in a hurry. I don't know if he wants it back. He doesn't get it back. He doesn't get it back. I'm not giving it back. He's gonna have to catch me. He'd catch me in a second, even though this bike's faster. It likes to just go where you tell it. It seems to be a pretty obedient type bike. Whoa! He probably wants it back. He's probably like, where can I pull this over and I get my bike back? Maybe he just wants to go faster, I don't know. Yeah, he wants it back. I was just gonna keep it.
Yeah?
Yeah! That's nice. I'm excited for you. I'm super excited for you. So, first things first. I like that bike a lot. I mean, very true. It has a lot of different upgrades and extras on it, and things that you would say are better than the v-strom. But the things that I really liked about it were the things that were similar. Now, I only rode it on the highway. We didn't do any off-road riding on it, as you can tell from the video. And so I just cannot say here or there what the bike does off-road. Even though there are a lot of differences between this v-strom and the Triumph Tiger, things like your foot pegs, they feel the same. Your riding position is pretty much the same. Wind protection, he has an aftermarket windshield on that, and it offers a bit more protection. This is stock windshield on this all the way down on the setting there, and I really don't mind it. I don't mind it really much at all. I don't know how the stock Triumph windshield is. The seat is really comfortable. And I don't want to sound like all I'm doing is just comparing it to what I have. The reason that I'm kind of doing that is because that's the only other bike that I'm really interested in changing to as a possibility. I'm not interested in the BMW, the big GS or anything. I'm not interested in the KTM. I'm not interested, well, I mean, I really like the KTM, but it's really just out of the price range for me. I mean, me personally, I start to compare because it's a bike that I can see myself on in the future. It's also really difficult to kind of like shut down the part of your brain that just likes what it's comfortable with. It's really hard to shut that down because I get used to this. And then when I get on something that's maybe a little more sporty or a little bit more tourer type, the aspects of familiarity are the parts that really stand out. And even though I can't exactly, turn it completely off, it's more about just ignoring it. I mean, to be 100% honest, I prefer the v-strom handlebars. The more power, I like to consider those things kind of like the diamonds and gold of your own preference. Some people will buy diamonds, it's just a dang mineral, and so is gold, it's just a mineral. Yet some people will literally spend, so much money on gold and diamonds, and I kind of see things like the power. In that aspect, it's not my gold or diamonds. I'm not willing to spend extra money just for the more power. But a lot of the other aspects of that bike feel so familiar to this one. It has adjustable seats, it has heated seats, it's got all kinds of, it probably has all kinds of different modes. It's got the spoked wheels, which is going to be a bit better for doing the off-road stuff. I mean, the differences are immense. It has a digital speedometer, which me personally, I actually prefer having a gauge. But what do I think of the Triumph Tiger? Awesome bike. Awesome bike. I think it looks so stinking cool. It looks amazing. The power delivery is great. The comfort the seating position and the handlebars is great. The wind protection of the aftermarket windshield that he had is great. The mirrors, they seem to work pretty good. You can actually see what you're, behind you instead of half your body. It's got tons of accessories you can get for it. It's got side cases, top case. Very, very, very excellent bike. I was under the impression that once I rode one, my mind would be made up. Like I would ride one and I'd be like, ooh, that's the one I'm gonna get. When I upgrade, I'm going to get that one. Triumph Tiger, guaranteed. But it didn't quite sell me on it. Not saying I don't like it. I like it a lot. I also like this a lot. And so it's kind of a, I don't know, I'd have to really think about it some more, and I'd probably look into it a lot more if the time ever presented itself. But the best way I could illustrate it would be this. If I was going to another country, or just somewhere where I didn't have my bike, and with like a friend of mine, and we were renting two bikes, and we didn't know what they were going to be, but when we showed up, one was a Triumph Tiger, and one was a v-strom 650. If I was going to be solo on the bike, I would pick the v-strom. I know that sounds weird, and some people might go, you know what, you sound like an idiot. Maybe. The determining factor would be if I was riding with a passenger. If I had a passenger on the back for the whole trip, I would pick the Triumph. Guaranteed. Just because that extra power will come in so useful when you're two up. And that's really the only thing that I can base it off of. I usually ride by myself. My wife doesn't ride with me. She rides her own bike when she rides. She prefers that, and that's fine. The friend of mine who got the Tiger, him and his wife ride quite a bit. And for that application, if I was in his shoes, I would totally go for the Tiger. But by myself, I would stick with the v-strom. And that makes it difficult to try to decide sometime in the future whether or not to go Triumph Tiger or v-strom. I understand that might seem a little narrow-minded to just have those two options and that's it. But I'd have to look at fuel consumption, I would have to look at maintenance, I would have to look at the overall price, I'd have to look at my situation at the time. Am I going to be carrying a lot more luggage? Things like that. So it's going to kind of stay up in the air until that time actually presents itself. So anyway, I'm sorry for rambling on and on and on and on and on, but I'd have to say that what I'm the most excited about is the fact that he has an adventure bike that he's wanting to ride. He traded his KLR in on this Triumph Tiger. Getting to the point, in the 5 years that I've had this bike, I have ridden with him while he was riding the KLR one time. And that was up through Glacier Park probably 4 years ago, if not more. And I am so excited to actually ride with him when he's on his adventure bike, and we might be able to get some of these these side roads and dirt roads and logging roads and get a little more off-road when we go out to ride, and I'm looking forward to that a lot. I'm not complaining about following a Harley and going up around Lake Koocanusa and stuff. That's fun too. It's a blast no matter what. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Good morning, anybody and anybody. Anybody and anybody. Anybody and anybody? That's not how it goes. More tourer type. Hey, this ain't a John Deere crossing. Slow down. I would have to look at fuel consumption